to my channel. I am Heather Briggs of My Sew Quilty Life, and today we're talking and getting the month 4 of the Flower Stand Block of the Month kicked off. So we are starting with the first tutorial, which is for block 7, but you will need your flower pack month 4. It has a little 4 in the corner so you know that you have the right one. So you do need your pattern for this month to start block 7 and block 8 tutorials. In this tutorial we are talking all about block 7. So block 7 is this adorable little shovel, little rake or fork with the cute little pots. So this is block 7. So I'm gonna go to my top camera and we're gonna go ahead and get started making this block. Okay, I wanted to go ahead and show block 7. So we're on month 4, block 7 in the quilt. And it's this cute, adorable little pot and the little rake and the little shovel. Super cute. It's right here on the right side of the stand. And this block is actually super simple and it goes together really quickly. So I'm excited to dive in. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So as a reminder, you do need your month 4 flower pack, and you will need the pattern for block 7 and block 8. And in this tutorial, we are just going to be making block 7, which is, again, this cute little flower pots with the little rake and the little shovel. So cute. I had to add this block to the flower stand. It wouldn't have made the flower stand without this cute little shovel and pots and rake block. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Open up your pattern to page 1 and go ahead and cut out all of your pieces. I have already done that, and here are my cut pieces here on my design board. I like to use a design board to stay organized for all of my tutorials, and when I'm making all of my blocks, I always use a design board. And don't forget, in month 1, you also have these cute little alphabet letters. This helps you stay organized. So here I have cut out all of my pieces, and I've gone ahead and organized them. So when I do work through the steps in the pattern, I can quickly grab the pieces I need for that step. So let's go ahead and get started with step 1. Again, step 1 in all of my tutorials, I laugh a little bit, I smile about this because it is the same thing. I know you guys are used to it, but for step 1, we're just drawing a diagonal line on the back of our fabric F and fabric J squares. You all know that I don't do that, but if you do that, go ahead and do that in the step. I use diagonal seam tape, which is attached to my machine, to follow those lines. So let's go ahead and move on to step 2. So for step 2, I'm going to move this to the side. Step 2, we do need our fabric K and our fabric J's. So K, we're making these small little pots. They're so cute. Okay, so fabric K and J. And all we're doing here is we are assembling. These steps in this pattern for this block are just so easy. We've done all of these techniques before in our previous blocks, so this block is going to feel like a breeze. I hope so. Okay, so I need to put these back for J because I don't need all of them. Okay, so all you're doing is aligning your J squares on the bottom corners of your fabric K rectangles. And you're going to assemble on that diagonal line, and you're going to press towards fabric J. I'm going to go ahead and assemble this, and when I get back, we'll move on to step 3. Okay, I just finished with step 2, and here I have my K units. Now, I went ahead and trimmed up the little bit of excess that I had sticking off from doing these stitch and flips. So in every step, you guys probably know this, after every step, I have what your unit should measure so that you can make sure if there was anything you need to trim off, or maybe you were a little short or need to remake that piece, you know exactly what that piece should measure before going on to the next step. So for step 3, we are just attaching our fabric in rectangles to the top of our K units. Super simple. Just make sure you have, according to your pattern, the right one. So this one goes with that one. This one goes with that one. So we're just going to assemble those at the top using our 1/4 inch seam. And then we're going to press towards those fabric in. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. Okay, I just finished my small pot units. So here they are. I didn't trim off that excess yet, but I will before putting them together. So now we're going to move on to step 4. Step 4 is doing the exact same thing we just did using different pieces. So we have our fabric M rectangles, and then we're using fabric F squares. 4 fabric F squares. So we do have right here, and we're doing the same thing. We're just assembling on the bottom corners. Oh my goodness. I don't have a steady hand to put these little guys on there. We're just assembling on your diagonal line and then pressing towards fabric F. Now, I'm also going to go ahead and move on to step 5 because it's the same thing we just did with step 3. So you're just going to assemble these little pot tops to the top. So all we're doing after we assembled our step 4, then we're going to assemble with our 1/4 inch seam these to the top. Just like this. Make sure that you look at your pattern and make sure that you have your pieces with their correct color. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble those and I will be back. Okay, I just finished up with step 4 and step 5. So here are my big pot units. It's the exact same technique we did with the small pot units. So now we're going to be moving on to step 6. So for step 6, and we'll go ahead and do step 7 because they're basically the same. So I'm going to go ahead and use this pot, the one with the green and the peach, and we're going to be making a bottom pot unit using our fabric D rectangle. All we're doing here is assembling our fabric D rectangle to the left side of our big pot unit. Okay, so once you've done that, you're going to move on to step 7. So for step 7, and I'll do 8. Why not? We'll just do 8 too because it's all super simple. So for step 7, you're just using the yellow and the pink pot. And then you need your fabric H rectangle. And here you're going to be assembling it to the left side of your big pot unit. Okay, so now I'm going to be moving on to step 8 as well. And for step 8, you need your 2 small pot units and you need your fabric B rectangle. This is going together so quickly. What you're going to do first is you're going to assemble your 2 small pots together and press towards the bottom pot. Then you're going to assemble your fabric B to that left side. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do steps 6, 7, and 8, and when I get back, we'll put this cute little pot unit together. Okay, so again, I finished step 6, our bottom pot unit, step 7, our middle pot unit, and step 8, our top pot unit. So now for step 9, we're going to be assembling all this together for this cute little pot unit. Okay, so first, if you look at your diagram, you're going to be putting this one on top, the yellow big pot on the bottom, and then this pot on the bottom. And you need 1 fabric G. So there's a couple of, you'll notice in my pattern when there's an arrow and a number, that indicates pressing direction and assembly order. So for our first number 1, our pressing arrow, if you break this apart, you have to assemble this top pot unit to our middle pot unit. Then step 2, you have to assemble fabric G. Then you can assemble all of that to your bottom pot unit. And then we'll move on to step 10. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And when I get back, we'll move on to step 10. Okay, so here is my finished and assembled pot unit. Oh, so cute. Okay, let's set that aside and move on to step 10. Step 10 is super easy. You are taking your fabric P rectangles, 3 of them. So you need to set 1 aside for later. Okay, and then you need 2 of your fabric I rectangles. And we're just making this cute little rake or fork. And all we're doing is assembling our green fabric P and our white fabric eyes together. Now, one thing I like to do is this is just a little tip I like to do because I used to just sit at my machine and sew all these together before pressing, and then I would press. And what would happen is I would notice that my piece was actually a little bit bigger than it was supposed to be. So what I do now is I assemble 1 by 1 and I press it, and then I go over to my cutting table and measure, taking a 1/4 inch off. So for instance, if your piece was 2 inches, when you press it, your piece should now be 1 3/4. So I go to my cutting table and make sure, and then I cut off any little sliver that I might have from maybe my seam allowance or something, you know, got messed up somewhere along the way. And then after I do that, then I will assemble the next one, press, cut, same thing, or just maybe not even cut, maybe just checking. Maybe you're just checking, maybe you're good to go, but I'm never good to go, just being honest. And then you're gonna assemble that one, press it, and then check or trim, and then that one. And that way yields the best result for me when I am making these type of units, where there's a lot of pieces right here and a lot of seams and a lot of potential error could happen. So I'm gonna do that, but I'm also gonna do step 11. So for step 11, you just need your remainder fabric P and your remainder 2 fabric J. We're just making that bottom piece right here. Now I will say, when you are assembling and pressing, be sure you are not skewing or distorting this piece. There have been some people that have said that their forks come out a little smaller, and I really do think it's because this piece has been made smaller on accident, because when you do assemble these, sometimes they can get a little wonky when you press them, because when you are pressing and trying to hold on to this small piece and trying to press it out, sometimes you can get a little skewed in your pressing. So just be careful when you are making this piece right here for step 11 that you are accurate, that you aren't over. And what I mean by that is you aren't over your piece and have anything sticking. You are right on lining up that square to this end of that rectangle, that there isn't any green sticking over and there isn't any white sticking over. And then make sure you are assembling on that diagonal line and then pressing without pulling or distorting or skewing or stretching. You just want to pop that seam open with your hand and press it first like this, and then set your iron on top to press. So just be mindful of this piece when you are assembling. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble steps 10 and 11. And let's go ahead and do 12 while we're at it, because 12 is just like we did with the pot units. So for step 12, you need fabric O and fabric F. And you are just assembling right here these squares on the bottom of your fabric O. So, and then assembling on that line, pressing towards fabric O. Easy peasy. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and when I get back, we'll have all those units finished and we can start assembling everything. Okay, so here I have my step 10, and I did make sure I measured every time just to be sure that I wasn't bigger or smaller. Here is step 11, and I made sure that I didn't skew or distort my piece when pressing, because it is small, it's hard to manage. And then we have step 12 finished, okay? So I'm gonna set these over to the side really quick, and we're gonna move on to step 13. Now for step 13, we're just making our handle units. So we're making 2. So doing the exact same thing, we are just assembling our fabric C's to 1 fabric Q, just like this. And again, I will make sure measuring that my pieces actually did come out how they should. And then we will move on to step 14. So I'm gonna sew these, and then when I get back, we'll be assembling the entire block. Okay, I just finished step 13, and here are my handle units. And I wanted to show you something. So this is all the little trimmings that I had from trimming off all those, you know, corner squares and trimming off anything that might have been a little overage on anything. So I cannot stress enough how important it is to trim up your units. Even if you think you're good, your seam allowance is great, sometimes when you press, sometimes it just gives that little bit extra that shouldn't be there. And if this isn't your quilt, it can definitely make your blocks inaccurate. It can add bulk. So I just always encourage everybody, press and trim. And again, after each step, it shows you exactly what that should measure. So if you have any little sliver, even just this little piece, I trim it off, clean it up, get it good. Then you don't have to really worry about, you know, your back looking all crazy and kind of messy and stuff. So that really helps. Okay, now let's move on to step 14. So for step 14, we need our fabric A, we need our fabric E, and our fabric G. So don't get these two mixed up. Fabric E is the wider one. Fabric G is the skinnier one. You see that, how they're different? Don't get those mixed up. So what we need to do is we need to assemble our shovel. So this is our O unit to that. I'm just setting it up really quick so I can see what's going on here. So this is what it should look like. Okay, so there are a lot of steps in this one. So we need to make sure we assemble these to this, and then after we've done that, we're assembling our fabric E and G right here and here. then we will assemble fabric A. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and when we get back, we're gonna assemble our pot unit to the left side. Okay, I just finished up with our step 14, and our garden tool unit looks so adorable. I seriously love this block so much. Okay, we're now done with all of our pieces, so I can put my design board to the side. What we need to do for the final step is combine our pots to our little tools, and this is simple. You're just assembling with a 1/4 inch seam on this side and pressing towards the pot unit. And when I finish that, we'll be all finished with this block. Oh my goodness. I think this is the shortest tutorial I have ever filmed. I love it. It's so adorable. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, I just finished my block. Are you ready to see it? Oh, it is so adorable. I know I just said this, but I love this block. I think it is so cute. So each month I do like a little remix pattern. I am considering making this into like a fun little cube like box for my garage, maybe something with handles, so that I can put some of my gardening tools, my seeds, my apron, you know, my little fork, my rake in there, and I can like travel around with the yard. Now I will have to make sure maybe I don't use a white background because that will probably get dirty, but I just think this is so cute. I hope you enjoyed making this block. I loved it. This was a quick tutorial, a quick block to make with techniques we've already used in our previous tutorials. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to the front camera to say goodbye, but I hope you enjoy making our block 7 of the month 4 of the Flower Stand block of the month. I'll see you soon. Okay, I just got done making block 7. This is absolutely adorable. I am obsessed with this block, and I know I just said in my video that I kind of want to make this into like some kind of like little cube thing with some handles to put all like my gardening tools in, but this is so adorable. You'll have to check back in to see if I can get that done and see if I can work that into my schedule, which is hard. So I hope you enjoyed making this block. If you are participating in the Flower Stand block of the month and posting your blocks, please use hashtag Flower Stand BOM. That is our special hashtag for this block of the month, so that I can see your progress and everybody else can as well, and then I can share it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in the description letting me know if you loved making this block, or if you're sewing along with the Flower Stand block of the month. I'd love to know. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you for block 8 in my next tutorial. Bye guys!